Hello and welcome. I'm Chris Pearson, creator of Focus, and I want to show you today how to use the Focus content style classes to create really rich web pages that are super easy to create and also to maintain. So what we're looking at here is a perfect example of one of these types of pages built with Focus. It's from a website called Tiny Little Businesses, which is the online home of Andre Chaperone, a very well-known marketer, creator, connector, just an all-around internet stud. And so he has really latched onto these Focus content style classes. And why I'm using his site as an example is because he sticks to the guardrails, so to speak. He stays between the guardrails set up by Focus, and he uses what he's been given to create really beautiful, really rich pages that just work. And so I want to show you how to be as effective as Andre is with the basic Focus content style classes. So before we get into that, let's take a look at what I mean, like when I say rich pages and stuff that you're going to be able to do that is maybe not what we expect or what we anticipate. So I'll point out those things right now. Number one, the first thing to note here is this style of page with the content column going right down the middle of the page. This is known as a Focus style page. So for the examples here, I'll be using Focus style page. It just these content style classes are going to work in any display mode, but this particular presentation mode really shows you the effects of these styles well. So we're going to use that just so these examples are a little better. All right, so first thing, he's got a headline here that extends outside the boundaries of the content column. The content has some defined width, maybe it's like 645 pixels, something like that. But this headline has bigger text and it spills out over the edges of the content. That actually is just an automatic feature of these Focus style pages. So you don't have to do anything to get those cool, kind of dichotomy between your constrained content column and then your big fat headlines, which I think is cool, on large screens at least. So that's automatic. You don't have to think about that. When we scroll down the content column here, we'll see some other interesting stuff like, oh, look at this. This image is wider than the content. So whenever an element is wider than the actual content column, within the context of Focus, we call that an extension. So extensions, one thing to keep in mind. Down here, we've got what I'm calling an inline caption. So we'll cover extensions, inline captions. Let's keep going. I've got just a regular list there. That's easy enough. You guys know how to do that. We've got, this is a block quote that has been extended. So this is a block quote's a normal thing you might put in any post or page or an article or whatever. But he has extended that to give this more effect here. Like this is clearly going to arrest your attention as you scroll down the page. So it's extensions, again, captions. Then we've got yet another extension, yet another caption, another extension. We're going to get into a note here. Here's a note. So this area with the gray background in this context is a note. You can actually make your notes any color you want. His are gray. So we'll do notes. Along with notes are two other types that are similar called alerts and boxes, content boxes. That gives you the ability to deploy these sections of text with a background color, and you can choose what those colors are and actually how they're formatted. We'll keep going. Another extension. He makes liberal use of extensions. I recommend that you make use of extensions as well, just because, especially if you're using the Focus presentation mode, simply because it makes really effective use of the space that's available to you on desktop screens. Here's an alert. This is his alert color. He's used this alert to convey an interesting bit of text here. Here's another. This isn't an extended alert, by the way. It's been extended outside the boundaries of the column. Super easy to do this stuff. I'm going to show you how. So here's a this is a, what is this? This is a box. And that box is not extended, nor was the note above. Here's an image extension, so you see the deal. So we're gonna go and look at how we can create similar stuff in our pages. So we'll clip over here, and this is just a test page, very simple. There's nothing on it right now. Okay, I've got some bold text here, one list, and some more bold text at the end. I want to add some of these Focus content styles and show you how easy it is. So we'll flip over here to our editor. And with the latest version of Focus, that's version 0.8, you have some new buttons here in the WordPress visual editor. Now, quick note, I'm using the classic editor here. This stuff is different in the context of Gutenberg and actually spits out fatter HTML, if you will, that makes your pages a little bit bigger. So it's not as lean as I would like. So I'm going to use the classic editor to demonstrate this functionality to you because this is where it's available right now, and also because ultimately your output is going to be a little tighter, a little better. There's not going to be any cruft. Cruft is stuff that appears in your code that doesn't actually have anything to do with the page. It's just extra junk that doesn't have to be there. Gutenberg spits out a lot of cruft. It's unfortunate. So anyway, we're sticking with this because we're going to keep it lean. All right. So first thing we want to do, let's just see what some of these are. We click on thesis content styles. We've got callouts. Callouts are the alert, the note, and the box. We've got a drop cap capability, which I'll show you first here in just a second. We can highlight some text, some inline text. We've got captioning. We can even do footnotes. We can do something called an extension, which we'll talk about. And we already talked about that. I showed you what that is. I'll show you how to do it and the pro way to do it here in just a bit. And then we can deploy some code, even some inline code. So the first thing we want to do is do a drop cap. So I'm going to select this first letter of my text here, and I'm going to select drop cap, and boom, we've got a drop cap. That's pretty easy. Not too bad. All right, now this bit of text is important, and I want people to be able to see it. I really want to draw their attention to it, so I'm going to make this an alert. All right, that's pretty simple. And I could have just as easily made that a box or a note. Actually, you got to turn one off to turn the other one on. There we go. So you see, it's very easy to add these things, remove these things, no problem at all. We'll stick with an alert though. I like that here. All right. Now let's see what else we can do. Let's add a featured image to this real quick, and we'll choose this one. This one's got a caption, so we're just gonna set that. And so let's update this and see what we've done. We've added a drop cap. We've added an alert. And we also added a featured image that contained a caption. So we'll update this and see what happens. Boom, look at this. Here's our featured image, and if you are using the Focus content presentation mode, Focus will automatically center any captions that you provide, just because that's kind of how the page works. This makes the most sense. So that's easy peasy. So we've already achieved some pretty interesting, rich display outcomes on an otherwise basic bit of content. Let's keep it going. What else do we got here? We've got an inline highlight. Maybe you've got a piece of text that you really want to draw the user's attention to, but it's just inline. So you don't want to highlight the whole paragraph. I don't want to make an alert, but I do want you to read. We'll just highlight this little bit of text here that says resource pages for the heck of it. Boom, it highlights that text in line. So when something's in line, we consider this whole paragraph to be a block, but just a little bit of something in here is in line. So like this drop cap occurs in line. This highlight occurs in line. Just an interesting distinction with HTML. The highlight function is an inline sort of thing. Next, we've got captioning, footnotes, and extensions. I tell you what, let's drop an image in here. We'll drop it right here. I'm going to add some media. We'll throw this picture. This picture does not have a caption, okay? But I'm going to add one in line. So right after the post. So there we go. There's the caption for my second picture. I'm just going to select that. Click caption, and boom, now this thing is a caption that goes with that image. It's kind of drawn the text up a little bit closer to the image so you can tell the relationship there. The formatting has changed. Very easy, pretty self-explanatory, no problems at all. Let's see, we've got a little bit of code. We'll just turn this text into code even though it's not code, just to show you how it works. You click code. Code also, like highlight and like the drop cap, this is an inline thing. This is not something you want to do to a whole chunk of code. That's what the pre-formatted selection over here is for. But if you just got a little bit of code that's in line, you can select to deploy that from this thesis content styles menu. Very interesting. We're going to add another box here at the bottom. We've got some emphasized text. We'll do this. We'll make this one a note. Now we'll make it a box. There we go. All right. We will save it. Let's see what we have now. We've got our highlight. We've got a new image with a caption. That's pretty cool. One thing I noticed though, I don't love how this image is only the size of my content. I like how this image is real big. I'd like for this one, on desktop at least, to use a little more space since we've got some more space. Let's go back in and see how we do that. All right, and this is really what makes Andre's page here so rich and awesome, is that he's extended his images. They are big, they're easy to read, you can follow what's going on in them. It just shows you more. It's always good to see more. So with that in mind, let's go take a look at how we can extend this image. Now the most intuitive thing to do is probably just go up here and select extend. Let's update and see what happens if we do that. Okay, it has extended both the image and the caption, and that might be suitable for you, but perhaps, and so this caption getting pulled over to the left is actually intentional. It could do that up here, but because the page is all centered, I feel like that's probably the best default way to do things. But I'm bringing this up and I'm showing you guys that this is, a little bit different because this is the kind of thing you're going to run into when you're playing with these styles. Not everything is going to, conform to your every whim exactly perfectly. And the idea is that I want to show you how to go in and change things that you want to change if you want to be an absolute ninja. So I've added these buttons to this visual editor as a convenience thing. This is the easiest way to do it. You don't have to really know anything. You just have to kind of know what you want to do and then click the corresponding thing and boom, you get the result you want. But if you've ever used this editor before to try and apply formatting, there's some stuff that's just weird. Some stuff doesn't really work the way you think it should. Some stuff's just annoying. There's some oddities here that you're going to come across as you do this a lot, okay? And so I want to show you, I want to give you the tools you need to overcome any of those oddities. So the way you do this is you click over to the text mode. Whenever you see something that you don't like necessarily, you want to change a little bit, just tweak it just a little bit, you're going to want to hop over to this text editor, okay? And then you can play with what's there to try and achieve the outcome that you want. Now for a lot of people, this is sort of... this can be intimidating, but it's not. It's nothing at all. Here's the text editor. It's mostly just your text with no formatting, okay? There are a few scattered HTML tags in here. Here's the drop cap. That's all the code needed for the drop cap thing. Very simple. You see this paragraph. Here's this paragraph. It's wrapped in an alert tag. Super easy. It's really a div, is the HTML element with a class of alert. Pretty basic stuff. So anyway, we look over here at this image, which we have extended, and it totally works. And the way focus, the image is the only thing that's extended. It exists within this extension class, and then after that comes the caption. But the caption smartly just automatically extended also. That's Focus's built-in logic that says, hey, if you've extended an image, then obviously just give that the same treatment. Give the caption that follows the same treatment that the image got. But if you didn't like that, if you decided that it would be better if your caption were centered, well, you could go in and try to do this. You could try to center the caption like this. You would probably do this first. I'm going to show you why. Here's what you would do. This worked on here. And I think, yay, I got the outcome I want. Well, flip over the text editor. That paints a different picture. Here it is. What the editor has done here is it has added this style text align center to your, this is added to the HTML code that is your article, essentially. So that code is going to exist behind the scenes here. And I want to, explain that you do not want, this is called an inline style, okay? In the Web Standards Handbook, like the thing that says this is how you make a web page, you do these things, you don't do these things. Inline styles are a do not do. Do not have inline styles. So I honestly, I've been doing this for a very long time. Those of you that have been following along through the years, well over a decade, and I never use the WordPress visual editor. I mean, literally never. I only use it to make convenience tools for you guys, and then I immediately flip right back over to the comfort of the text editor. And the reason why is because a lot of these tools are just built to spit out crap that shouldn't be in your HTML. So like, I have zero tolerance for that. I'm not allowing that on my sites. So I just don't even give it a chance to happen. I don't use these tools. So I'm explaining why I don't use these tools. So, you know, here, this is input, this text align center. So while it achieved the outcome you wanted, it also dumped this idiosyncratic text and a web standards sin into your markup. Unacceptable. I'm deleting that. We're going back over here to the visual, and we see that that centering is gone. But you have a goal. You still want this text to be centered. How are you going to do that? Well, here's how you're going to do that. You're going to flip over. You're going to find the caption, which is right here, p class equals caption. All you got to do is add a space and just add a new class here called center. You add it right to that tag, and boom. Now your caption is centered under the image. Now a lot of people kind of recoil at that, and I want to encourage you to be bold and don't worry about, you know, don't be intimidated by this editor. You can't really screw anything up. It's not like that. You're more likely to screw things up and do things you don't even commit sins you don't even know you're committing by using the visual editor. It'd be really nice if you became fluent or at least comfortable working in this text-based editor, so you can really get the exact outcomes you want. In the event that that editor is doing something, the visual editor is behaving in a way that you don't like, you're not getting quite the outcome you want, if you are comfortable working in the text editor, you will be able to achieve the outcome you want. So anyway, that was a long-winded way of showing you how I would handle that if I wanted to center that caption. So we can do other things here too. Let's get super complicated here. Actually, with the extend class as well. The extend class is one where you are likely going to encounter some, I mean, if you're just extending images in the way I showed you here, you're going to be fine. But, you know, the way that works, the way extending works, it adds this div class equals extend as a separate HTML element that wraps the image. You actually don't need this, okay? You actually don't need this. That's just the only way the editor is able to work and do its thing, but you don't need it. So I'm going to replace the div, the original div, and the classes on the image tag. I'm just going to put an extend class on there. I put an extend class directly on the element I wanted to extend. So we'll update. And look at that. There it is. It's still extended. I achieved the same outcome, but I didn't have any of this, you know, I have less code. Now I have less cruft. Remember, HTML that doesn't need to be there, stuff that's behind the scenes that doesn't have any negative effects, but it doesn't need to be there. So if we can get rid of something, I vote get rid of it. This is how you would get rid of the cruft that results from only operating within the visual editor. And like I said, that cruft happens because the visual editor can only do so many things in certain ways. It can't do everything exactly how we want to do it. So the text editor exists so that if you know what you're doing, you can go over there and get exactly the results you want. And quick aside here, so I use the extend class on that image. You might have a question, well, what are the available focus style classes? And there's a document page. Here's the URL. Under the focus docs, it's focus content style classes. You've got callouts, alert note box. You've got these special presentation styles. Here they all are. And this is exactly what gets, you know, output behind the scenes when you use this functionality in the visual editor. You know, the extend class, we saw that. We saw the drop cap, highlight, same sort of deal. There's even one called image framing, which has to be applied manually and cannot be applied through the visual interface. There's captioning, footnotes. The footnotes I haven't showed you yet. And there's also a bar functionality that works on when you're in readability mode or focus mode. I haven't even gone into that. That's beyond the scope of this particular video. But bottom line is, you can refer to this page to know what's available to you And then if you're comfortable flipping back and forth between the visual and the text editor, you can start to apply these classes to get the results you want. So one last thing, let's turn these two paragraphs into one big extended alert. And I'm just doing this to show you some of the problems you might encounter with the editor and how we can go about resolving them, because I think that's instructive, because frustration seems to be a hallmark of dealing with anything in this visual editor as far as I'm concerned. So if we know we want to extend something and do something else, we should apply the extend class first. So we'll apply the extend class. You will not see any visible difference in the editor. It's a constraint of the editor. But you know you've applied it. You can check here. You can see that it's applied. And obviously, if you check out what it looks like, you know, what the actual page looks like on this side, you can see that something's been extended. Okay, so we will make an alert. So we have extended an alert, and we will update it and see what it looks like. So there it is. This alert has now been extended. And we saw Andre had extended an alert and a block quote on his post over here. So let's look at what that actually did, though, to the markup. It applied two separate divs around these two paragraphs, extend and alert. You really don't need both. Again, this is more crufts. You can combine the two into one, but the editor's not smart enough to do that. So now we've combined them both. We have the same result, but there's less cruft behind the scenes. So this is a better result than the other one. The other result, the first result I showed you that looked the same, was done strictly through the visual editor, but that result is not as tight as just using the text editor and cleaning things up. I'm showing you this. I really debated on whether or not I wanted to show you how the text editor works. You have more control this way. If you're ever frustrated by the visual editor, you can say, you know what, enough. I know that I can do this. I can get exactly what I want. That's what the text editor is about. And if you are comfortable using this, you can do more with less frustration and you get the outcomes you want. I think it's very freeing to know that I can do what I want. So I really appreciate this editor. I know we've been using this thing for a long time. A lot of people think this looks like antiquated or whatever. I don't. I just see power here. I see that I can get what I want. And that's what I like. So anyhow, that really covers the basic classes. You know, it's super easy. The buttons are all right here. You just pick what you want and deploy it. And if you run into any issues with the way it's working and feel like you can't get the results you want, just pop in the forums, ask me the question, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do to get the results you want. But bottom line is, and so one more thing I want to show you. So Andre had that block quote that was extended. That was pretty cool. So we can extend all sorts of stuff. The sky is the limit here. I actually do this on DIYthemes.com. Let me show you my homepage. So I've got videos that are extended that pop out the sides of the layout, and I've got this element. I've even, you know, you can apply extensions. The point is you can apply extensions to elements that are maybe a little bit counterintuitive, or that's, you know, you may just not have thought about things in this way before, but you can extend anything for effect. So we're going to add one little thing here. We'll kill this extended alert we just added, and we'll make it a block quote. So I'll hop back over here to do this. Oh boy. This is what I mean with the editor. I hit backspace and it gave me an unintended outcome. Whatever. Okay. So we're going to make this a block quote. There we go. Now it's a block quote. Put my cursor right there. I'm going to pop over to the text editor. I'm going to look at this block quote. Here it is. I want to extend this thing. So all you got to do to extend it, we find the block quote tag, the opening block quote tag, set the cursor right there at the end, space, class equals, extend. That's it. That is it. Update. Boom. Now we have an extended block quote right there. So you see, you've got an element, doesn't matter what it is. It could be this box, it could be this image, anything. All you do is go into the text editor, add the extend class to it, hit save, and boom, you've got an easy extension. So now you have all this control over the way the elements in your content are going to appear on larger screens. And this stuff all degrades nicely to smaller screens. It all does exactly what you think it should do. All the spacing is maintained. It's all beautiful. It's going to work on all devices. That's sort of what makes it so sweet. But this is kind of a big deal because all these classes, although these classes have existed in various iterations of Thesis through the years and have been in Focus since Focus was launched about a month ago, it was kind of a black box. You had to know to go into the text editor and apply them. Bringing this a little bit more, making this a little more mainstream, I guess you might say, by adding these Thesis content styles, this easy deployment button. But like I said, you want to be an absolute ninja. You want to get your stuff exactly right. You're going to need to know how to pop over to that text editor and massage that content a little bit to get exactly what you want. But there it is. You can make super rich, awesome web pages with Focus. You can do cool stuff like these extensions and whatever. And you can do it all from the comfort of your WordPress admin. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to use external plugins, no other CSS code, nothing crazy. You can use what you've got, and you can really do an awful lot with it, all right? See you soon.